How to improve your SEO or search engine optimization. That is what we're going to talk about today. But first, welcome to the daily voiceover huddle. My name is Mike Hathcote. I'm a full-time voice actor and author of the book, The Voiceover Blueprint, which you can get the digital download and the audiobook and 4 free gifts for less than $10 in the description below. Just click that link and it'll take you right to the page. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Smash it so that you can get this information as quickly as possible. And also, don't forget to chime in on the chat so we can do some shout outs here in a few minutes. All right, let's get into today's topic. You've heard me talk on here plenty of times about how your website, other than your demos, your website should be your main marketing tool for getting voiceover work. Now, this is the qualifier there is, like I've always said, not DIY demos, but professional demos. Once you have your professional demos, you got to have them on a good website. And that is where all roads lead, is to that website when you're doing your marketing. That's where they can learn the most about you. They can hear your samples. They can, see anything else that you want to put on your website about you. But everything should go to your website. So obviously, SEO stands for search engine optimization. And that's, for those of you who aren't aware, that's how you rank on the search engines like Google and Bing and any of the other ones out there. It's how people find your website organically, not by clicking a link, but just finding it organically if they type in, voiceover in the search engines. So there are several things that you can do to improve your SEO on your website. The main one is to make sure your website is quality. And that means, a reputable builder, good layout. I mean, not one of these free, cheap ones with a generic domain name and that kind of thing. So good domain name that's specific to you, quality website, keywords in the website. A lot of website builders actually have a built-in tool that will allow you to choose keywords, and they sometimes will make suggestions on the keywords to embed into your website to make sure that they do show up on search engines. Also, a big one, and this is pretty basic, but a big one is, and this is something you should do right away when you first build your website, as soon as you publish it, you go to Google Submit. Literally just type that into the Google search engine or the search bar, submit. And the first thing it'll take you to is where you can actually submit your website to be crawled by Google. And that's the first step in getting listed. It'll eventually get listed just because it's out there, but you want to be proactive and go ahead and right when you launch your site, go to Google Submit your website to Google, and that will start the crawling process that Google does to make sure that, your site is legit. The next thing is an SSL certificate. An SSL certificate, that stands for Secure Socket Layer, which is nerd speak for just encryption, to make sure that your website is encrypted and protects other people's info and also protects your own info. A lot of people on their websites, they have contact forms. And if you've got a contact form and people are entering in their contact information, you want to show them that your website is encrypted. And usually that comes in the form of up in the search or up in the browser window where you see the address. Instead of HTTP, it'll say HTTPS. S. That means for secure, not two S's, just S. That means it's a secure connection. A lot of banks, any banks or any other important websites have that encryption. So most websites have that included, or website builders have that included, and or hosts. So like if you build your website yourself, you can talk to your host about getting an SSL certificate included. So that's a big one because Google and some of the other search engines, they prioritize sites that have encryption. So make sure that that is part of the deal on your website. Another big one is having social media sites linked to your website. Not only does that just help you in your marketing and branding, but it helps you actually have direct connections to huge websites like Facebook and YouTube and, people that there's billions of people on these websites, or hundreds, at least hundreds of millions. But anyway, by having a direct connection, they're called backlinks, by the way. If you have a backlink to Facebook and Twitter and all the other social media sites, that just once again shows the search engine algorithm that you are legit. And also, by the way, put a website link on those social media accounts as well. So it goes both ways, right? So you've got, your LinkedIn page has a link to your website has a link to your LinkedIn page. So you've got that two-way street. That helps your SEO quite a bit. The last thing really is keeping it fresh. So when you build your website, don't just set it and forget it. From time to time, go in there and update things. Put in, maybe you've got a new demo or just new information, new logos of companies that you've worked for or whatever. Always go in and keep it fresh. Don't just leave it for years without touching it. Keep it fresh. Once again, the search engines love fresh content. This is another reason why a lot of people include blogs on their website, because if you include a blog and you're actually creating blogs on a regular basis and uploading those, that means there's always something new being added to the website, and search engines love that. Um, so yeah, those are some basic things. There's plenty of more like detailed stuff, but those are some things that most everyone can do on your website to make sure that the search engines crawl it and rank it as high as possible. Okay? Search engine optimization, very important, because not everybody is going to be able to click your link that you have somewhere. If somebody just goes in and does a search, hopefully you'll be one of the ones that comes up. So there you go. All right, let's see who's in today and say hi. There's John in Denver. Ding, ding, ding. First one in today. There's Ron from Grand Haven, Michigan, and Mark from Montreal. There's Sean from Longview, Boomer McBoom from San Emilio Mountains, California. And there's David from Hamilton, Ontario. Good morning to you. And there's Wayne from Port Orchard, Washington. Hey, Rick from Minneapolis, and Corey from Whitehall, Wisconsin. Nancy in Yankton, South Dakota. Boomer says, book arrived yesterday. Yeah, baby. Oh, you got the hard copy. That's cool. So you'll have the experience of actually doing it old school and reading it like we used to. Thank you for that. Bob says, good morning from beautiful Wadsworth, Ohio, and Callie from Pasco, Washington. Theo says, happy hump day from downtown Chicago. I'm about to smash that like button. How about all y'all? Let's like it up. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. That's nice. Jason said, excited for another practice lesson in the business I love. Good morning from Kearney, Nebraska. See, I caught myself. There's Nicole from Ottawa, Ontario, and Kirk from Greenville, South Carolina. There's Ethan, happy hump day VO fam from Toronto. And Terry is checking in from Fallston, Maryland. You're absolutely right. I just left a meeting on this subject. Haha, right, cool. Yeah, it's a big deal, and it's something that a lot of people don't know much about. So do it. There's Dennis. Good morning, everyone, from Pasadena, California. And there's Paul from Seymour, Tennessee, my home state. There's Tim from Altoona and Gregory from far north Dallas. Becky says, happy hump day. It is hump day. Although, you know what? Yes, it's technically hump day, but I don't really keep track of days like that. Every day, I'm not one of these people who's like, oh, I wish it was Friday. I wish it was the weekend. I love what I do. That's why I love Mondays because, I get to come in here and do what I love. So, yes, it is hump day, but I don't consider it like being over the hump because I love every day. I know that sounds very Mr. Rogers, but it's true. There's Tracy from Rochester, Minnesota. Kathy says, "Thank you so much for this info," from Kathy in Hickory, North Carolina. You're welcome, Kathy. Thank you. Voice 156, greetings from Holland. And there's Dennis from Grant Park, Illinois. Tracy says, "May I ask, do you have a reference of books on acting?" I don't. To be honest, and sometimes I kind of feel bad about this, but I've never taken an acting class. I've never been in any kind of other than high school or middle or elementary school plays, never been in any kind of acting whatever. So unfortunately, I do not have any kind of acting book stuff, but um, use the big Google machine in the sky and see if you can find something that's got some good reviews because I do not. I'm sorry. There's Wyatt from Nashville. That's two from Tennessee in the group today. Where's Nephi from Knoxville? He's not on today, unfortunately. Voice 156 says VOs like Christopher Tester said SEO wasn't delivering quite as much orders like cold calling potential clients. What is your experience? Oh yeah. Yeah, you'll get way more work by direct marketing and providing a link to your website because they just go straight to your site. They're not searching for anything. In fact, most cases they're not even typing in your website, which is a good reason why you should have either a digital business card that takes people to your website or a QR code on your website. I'm sorry, on your business card, so that someone doesn't physically have to type in your name or your website into the search. By all means, your main source of work will come from direct marketing. So that's where SEO has no bearing. But what you want to do is you want to pad your numbers. You want to increase your exposure, which is where SEO comes in, because if people can't find your website organically, that's obviously not as good as being able to do that. So make sure that you cover all the bases. You get your SEO right so that when people do search organically, they can find you. But most of the time, you're right, people are going to be clicking a link that you send them either in an email or whatever. So yes, that's very correct. Jason says, acting books that can make a difference. Respect Your Actors by Uta Hagen or Uta Hagen. Screen Acting by Michael Caine. Try local improv group or community theater to improve your acting chops too. Very good advice. Here's some more suggestions. Acting books, Larry Moss, Meisner, Stella Adler. I don't remember the titles off the top of my head, but these were my favorite teachers. Okay. Larry Moss, Meisner, and Stella Adler. There's Brett from sunny Tulsa, Oklahoma. Rich says, I continue to read your book into chapter 5. Thank you, Rich. That's very nice. That means a lot. So apparently you got the hard copy too, unless you're just reading the digital version. Well, guys, we're at the bottom of the questions or bottom of the shouts. So if you have any questions about SEO, feel free to pop those in. I'll give it a little bit more time. Oh, digital version. Thank you anyway, Rich. Appreciate it. Jason also says, anything by Chekhov or Stanislavski? Kylie says, yes, Respect for Acting by Uta Hagen is a must also. Maybe I'll pick up some of these. Not that I've got any extra time to read them, but I'll try. By the way, speaking of books, the link to the book bundle is in the description, and what you get with that, as I mentioned at the top, is the digital version, the audiobook version, and then the 4 free gifts are 4 PDF kind of handouts, one on, building a beginner booth on a budget, one on direct marketing, my steps that I use for my direct marketing, um, how to have a more conversational read, and then what was the last one? I've got them right here. Forgot the 4th one. Oh, beginner mistakes. That's a huge one. Yeah. People who are beginners and the mistakes that they make. So those are the 4 gifts that are included in the book bundle. $9.95 if you want to get one. All right. Well, if there's no other questions on SEO, then I'm going to jump to work. I've got a gigantic e-learning to start the day today. It's going to be about $1,000 right there, which will be nice. And then whatever else comes in throughout the day. So I'm going to get busy. I will talk to you all tomorrow. And thank you again for being here. Break a lip. See ya.